This is Building Lifestyles, a show designed to help everyday Australians create a lifestyle that inspires them using property development strategies. On the show, you'll hear from everyday people changing their lives doing property development. You'll learn from their successes as well as some of the challenges they've faced along the way. We also talk to experts from a range of fields who share specialised techniques that you can use to accelerate your property journey. I'm your host, Amanda McEwen, and I'm the founder of The Rising Star Developer. And I'm really passionate about helping everyday Australians build lifestyle using property development. Welcome to the very first episode of 2025. I'm Amanda McEwen, your host of Building Lifestyles, and I couldn't be more excited to kick off this year with a topic that is the power to transform everything for you, the mindset of success. Here's the truth. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to achieving our goals. Whether it's a fear of failure, judgment, or uncertainty, it can stop even the best laid plans in their tracks, but not this year. This year, we're breaking through those barriers, embracing challenges, and taking bold action. In today's episode, I'll share 7 powerful steps to help you cultivate a success-oriented mindset, overcome fear, and take action that propels you towards your goals. I'll even share real-life examples and practical strategies that you can implement today. So grab your notebook and let's dive straight in. So let's start by talking about fear. Fear itself isn't inherently bad. It's actually a survival mechanism. It helps keep us safe by alerting us to potential dangers. But here's the thing. In today's world, fear often shows up in places where we're not actually in danger, like starting a new business, making an investment, or even speaking to a room full of people. When we let that fear take over, it paralyzes us. But if we shift our perspective, fear can become a guide showing us where we need to grow. As Nelson Mandela said, courage is not the absence of fear, but triumph over it. So today, we're not going to try and eliminate fear. We're going to try and learn how to work with it and move forward anyway. So tip number 1, identify the root of your fear. Fear often comes from the unknown, whether it's making that first call to a potential A-team member or making your first offer on a deal. There'll be that nervous feeling inside where you question whether you can even do this, or even if imposter syndrome kicks in, where you think, you know what, who am I to be a property developer? So ask yourself, what exactly are you afraid of? Is it the fear of failure? Is it rejection? Or is it even success? When you can name your fear, you take away some of its power. I once had a member, Sarah, who was terrified of pitching her property deal to potential investors. She realized the fear wasn't about the deal itself. It was about being judged and rejected. So once she identified that, we worked on building her confidence by putting herself in the potential investor's shoes and making sure that she could answer any potential questions that they would ask. Most of this came down to the deal itself, understanding the numbers, but also managing risk. When she took the focus away from herself and onto the deal and the potential investor, she was able to have that confidence to successfully pitch the deal to 3 investors who loved her project. So an actionable step for today is write down one fear holding you back and break it into smaller parts. Because once you know the root cause, it's so much easier to address. Let's move into tip number 2, reframing challenges as opportunities. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to grow stronger. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Try asking, what can I learn if I succeed? So a developer that I work with hit roadblocks with council approvals for months. A challenge look every developer is going to experience at some stage in their property journey. Instead of giving it up, they reframed it as an opportunity to learn the system inside out. Not only did they get their approval, but they now use that knowledge to fast track other projects. It's about understanding the elements that you control and pushing those components, and then managing your frustration through the elements you can't control, such as how long does it take for council to assess your deal. There are always little things that you can do to influence things you can't control. So for example, following up council on a regular basis. So when you call them up and say, okay, how's my application going? You could ask, when shall I call you back? And then making a note of that in your diary and making sure you call back on that date. They're examples of some things that we can actually control, even though we can't actually control the application itself. So an actionable step here is think of one challenge you're currently facing and what opportunities could come out of overcoming it. Write them down because this is a simple but powerful shift. Tip number 3, take small, consistent steps. Success isn't about massive leaps. It's about consistent small actions that builds momentum. Each small win builds confidence and moves you closer to your deal. And if I look across all of my members, the ones who are most successful aren't the ones who are the smartest or the deepest pockets or the biggest bank accounts. It's the ones that keep showing up and keep being consistent and making progress towards their goals. Because when you start out in your wealth creation journey, most of us want results yesterday. But like anything, success takes time. And success often looks like it happens overnight, but in reality, it's far from that. There's a popular saying, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. What people see are the big wins, the public milestones, and they're just the tip of the iceberg. What they don't see are the years of consistent small actions that built the foundation for that breakthrough that are sitting below the surface. I'm not saying it takes 10 years to achieve success, but even in my own journey, I had to go through other wealth creation strategies, making lots of mistakes along the way before I finally got to where I am today. So an example of this is one of my inner circle members I worked with started small, learning the basics, building relationships, and completing one simple, modest development. Over time, those small, consistent efforts compounded, and now they're managing multiple projects and generating multiple six-figure profits. To the outside world, it may look like their success happened overnight, but we know that it was years in the making with lots of roadblocks and mindset challenges to overcome along the way. Another example is one of our members who wanted to start a joint venture, but felt overwhelmed and didn't know where to start. So we broke it down into steps, researching potential partners, making one call per week and tracking conversations. And within 3 months, they'd landed their first joint venture partner. So an actionable step here is think about your big goal for 2025. Take that big goal and break it into 3 smaller steps that you can take this week. Then commit to taking that first step, just that one first step. Because remember, every small action adds up to big results over time. Let's get into tip number 4. Surround yourself with the right people. Your environment is everything. When you're surrounded by supportive, like-minded individuals, you're more likely to stay focused and motivated. And that's one thing that I'm so proud of the incredible community. And that's one thing that I'm so proud of the incredible community that I've created inside of the Inner Circle. And it's actually one of the most common positive feedbacks I get from new members, how supported and welcome they feel when they join. And this community becomes like an extended family. Members often say they wouldn't have achieved half their goals without the support and the accountability of the group. So when you see others taking bold steps, it can't help but inspire you to do the same. So an actionable step, evaluate your current circle. Are they lifting you up or holding you back? And if needed, seek out a mentor, a mindset group, or a community that can help you keep inspired, or a community to keep you inspired. Tip number 5, visualize your success. Visualization is a powerful tool for success. When you can clearly see yourself achieving goals, it creates a mental roadmap that guides your actions. Now, visualization may or may not be your thing, but either way, if you don't have a clear vision on what you want to achieve, how will you know what steps to take to get there? It's like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly wherever the ocean currents take it, instead of steering towards your intended destination. I recently spoke with someone who visualized standing in front of their first completed development, handing the keys to a buyer. And that visualization kept them going through every obstacle and curveball. And 15 months later, they were doing exactly that. So an actionable step, spend 5 minutes each day visualizing one of your goals. See it, feel it, and believe it's possible. Even something simple like putting a photo of what you want to achieve on your phone as a screensaver to remind you every single time you pick up your phone. Tip number 6, embrace failure as feedback. Failure isn't an end, it's a stepping stone. Every successful person has failed at some point. The difference is they saw it as a lesson and not a setback. I never view challenges or issues as failure. I see them as feedback and learnings. As soon as you flip that thought process around, suddenly every new challenge becomes so much easier to tolerate. So I had a new student who joined with a lot of hurt from a previous deal that had turned sour before they came on board. What had happened is he structured himself incorrectly and chose to fund the deal with really high cost funding. The project went longer than expected and he was hit with high costs of finance because he didn't understand the risk of that finance strategy. But instead of quitting, he analysed what went wrong, invested in learning more about development, got himself a mentor who had achieved what he was wanting to achieve. He took the learning on board, adjusted his approach, and then he turned profit on the next 3 projects. So an actionable step, think of a time that you failed. What did you actually learn from it? And how can you use that lesson to move forward? And our final tip, tip number 7, commit to taking action. Fear fades in the face of action. Even if it's imperfect, taking that first step creates momentum. And the more that you do, the less room that fear has to hold you back. I recently had a member who hesitated calling an agent about a deal. She wasn't sure about what to ask and didn't want to come across as stupid. With a little encouragement, guidance, and a script that we made up, they made the call, and that property has become one of their most profitable projects to date. So an actionable step for you is write down one bold action that you're going to take this week. Then do it, because action is the antidote to fear. So as we step into 2025, remember this: success doesn't require the absence of fear. It requires the courage to move forward despite it. Fear is a part of every single journey, but it doesn't have to define your path. So let's just recap on the 7 tips we mentioned today. So tip 1, identify the root of your fear. Tip 2, reframe challenges as opportunities. Tip 3, take small, consistent steps. Tip 4, surround yourself with the right people. Tip 5, visualize your success. Tip 6, embrace failure as feedback. And our final tip 7, commit to taking action. I hope these 7 tips, along with the actionable steps, inspire you to face your fears, embrace challenges, and take bold action in 2025. Before I go, I want to leave this with you. What's one bold step that you can take today to start creating the life that you want in 2025? Write it down, commit to it, and make it happen. We have so many amazing guests coming up in 2025, so be sure to look out for future episode releases. This year, we're going to also be interviewing a number of our members who hit the 6 or 7 figure club milestone, so you don't want to miss these episodes. Thank you for joining me today, and here's to a year of courage, action, and incredible success. Let's make 2025 your best year. Until next time, keep dreaming big and taking bold steps forward. Thank you so much for listening. This is Building Lifestyles, a show designed to help everyday Australians create a lifestyle that inspires them using property development strategies. This podcast was produced by the Rising Star Developer. We've been helping Australians realise their financial and lifestyle goals since 2020. We play a pivotal role in educating, supporting, and celebrating the goals and successes of our students and our community. To find out how we can help you realise your property, wealth, and lifestyle goals, head to our website www.risingstardeveloper.com.au. To make sure you don't miss an episode of Building Lifestyles, be sure to subscribe to and follow the show in your favourite podcast app. And while you're there, leave us a 5-star review, as it really helps others find the show. I'm Amanda McEwen, and we'll be back next episode with more tips on how you can build your lifestyle.